The psychology of people who fear wealth starts with an uncomfortable truth. Money stress has very little to do with numbers, and everything to do with what's been living rent-free in your head for years. Be honest, does your heart race when bills show up? Do you avoid checking your bank account because it feels like bad news waiting to happen? You tell yourself you'll deal with it next month, but next month keeps moving. And if you don't interrupt this cycle now, it quietly keeps deciding your future for you. Here's the part that stings. Millions of responsible, hardworking people stay stuck, not because they lack income, but because their money habits were built on fear, guilt, and confusion. Financial psychology is clear on this. Most financial pain comes from learned patterns, not bad luck. That fear leaks into your sleep, your relationships, and your confidence, making even simple money decisions feel heavy and overwhelming. So ask yourself this: what if the real problem isn't how to make money, but how you were taught to think about it? Most people were raised with warnings, shame, or silence around money. No one explained why fear shows up right when opportunity appears, or why staying comfortable feels safer than growing. Once you see this clearly, something shifts fast. Stay with me. Because the first mental trap almost everyone falls into feels completely normal, until you finally see it for what it is. And when you do, the way you relate to money changes immediately. Most people don't realize this, but many adults learn to link money with tension way before they learn math. As kids, they overheard arguments about bills, rent, credit cards, and suddenly money became a threat, not a tool. From a financial psychology standpoint, this wiring sticks, shaping money habits for decades. Instead of seeing personal finance as freedom, their brain hits panic mode the second finances come up. A classic example shows up in movies like The Pursuit of Happiness. Early on, every money decision feels heavy, stressful, and urgent, not empowering. That's how a lot of people live daily, checking their bank app with one eye closed. The mentor move here is awareness, noticing when thoughts about how to make money instantly trigger fear instead of curiosity. That moment of awareness is the first crack in the old pattern. A practical reset starts small and feels almost too simple, which is why it works. He suggests writing down every emotional reaction tied to money for 7 days, not expenses, emotions. Stress spikes when paying bills. Relief when payday hits. This builds financial education at the emotional level, not just numbers. Studies show that naming emotions reduces anxiety by up to 40%, making better money habits easier to form. Once the stress is named, the shift begins. Money becomes a neutral tool again. He reframes finance tips as options, not obligations. Instead of "I have to deal with this," it turns into "what can this unlock for me?" That's where freedom sneaks in quietly. And just when this stress loop loosens its grip, a deeper fear shows up next, one that has nothing to do with dollars and everything to do with other people's opinions. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people won't say out loud. For many, the fear of being judged is stronger than the fear of staying broke. In personal finance conversations, money isn't just money, it's identity. Financial psychology shows that people often self-limit because they're terrified of standing out, being labeled greedy, lucky, or out of touch. So they keep their money habits small to stay socially safe. You see this play out clearly in shows like Succession, where money isn't the real battle, perception is. Characters obsess over how they're seen, not just how much they earn. In real life, this looks like someone avoiding better opportunities because friends might talk, family might question it, or coworkers might feel uncomfortable. The cost of approval quietly becomes higher than the cost of poverty. A mentor move here is asking one sharp question: whose voice is actually making the decision? He encourages writing down the top 3 opinions that influence financial choices: parents, partners, friends, social media. Then compare that list with real-world outcomes. Research from behavioral finance shows people who prioritize external validation earn less over time than those who follow clear financial education principles. The practical shift is subtle but powerful. Start building money habits privately before sharing wins publicly. Automate investing into broad ETFs like VOO or SCHD. Learn how to make money quietly through skills or side projects, and let results speak later. Confidence compounds faster in silence. And once judgment loses its grip, another trap appears, one that disguises itself as comfort but quietly blocks real security. A lot of people swear they want financial freedom, but what they really want is comfort. Comfort feels predictable, familiar, and low risk, even when it's slowly draining their future. From a financial psychology lens, the brain prefers what's known over what's beneficial, which is why stagnant money habits can feel safe. The problem is, comfort rarely builds real personal finance stability. You see this dynamic clearly in shows like The Office. Everyone complains, everyone feels underpaid, yet most characters stay because the routine feels safe. In real life, this shows up as staying in a job with no growth, avoiding investments, or delaying financial education because now isn't the right time. Short-term comfort keeps long-term wealth permanently out of reach. The mentor shift here is redefining safety with numbers, not feelings. He suggests a simple exercise: calculate how much staying comfortable costs over 10 years. For example, avoiding a basic S&P 500 investment that averages around 8 to 10% annually could mean missing out on hundreds of thousands long-term. When comfort is measured in lost opportunity, it stops feeling safe. The practical step is intentional discomfort with structure. Set a rule to invest first, even if it feels awkward at the beginning. Build money habits like automatic transfers, skill upgrades, or learning how to make money through scalable skills. Discomfort fades, but growth compounds. And just when comfort stops being the enemy, another issue surfaces: avoiding money knowledge altogether. Avoiding money education doesn't come from laziness, it comes from intimidation. When something feels confusing, the brain labels it as dangerous. Financial psychology explains this clearly: uncertainty creates fear, and fear creates avoidance. That's why many people never develop strong money habits, even though finance tips are everywhere. You see this pattern in movies like The Big Short. At first, the financial system looks complex, cold, and impossible to understand. But the characters who slow down and learn the basics end up seeing opportunities others completely miss. In real life, avoiding financial education keeps people dependent on guesses, luck, or bad advice. The mentor approach here is shrinking the learning window. He recommends 10 minutes a day, no more. Read one chapter of The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins, watch a short breakdown on personal finance basics, or learn one concept like compound interest. Studies show consistent microlearning increases retention by over 60%, making progress feel effortless. Once learning becomes routine, fear loses power fast. People start understanding how to make money, how debt actually works, and why smart money habits outperform hustle alone. Confidence replaces confusion. And right when clarity starts building, something strange happens next: self-sabotage shows up right at the door of opportunity. Right when progress shows up, that's when fear gets sneaky. Financial psychology calls this the upper limit problem, when people subconsciously pull back as soon as things start working. New income, better finance tips, a solid plan to improve personal finance, and suddenly excuses pop up. Old money habits try to drag everything back to familiar ground. You see this clearly in movies like Limitless. As soon as the main character starts winning, pressure increases and self-doubt creeps in. In real life, this looks like skipping an investment, delaying a side hustle, or talking yourself out of learning how to make money later. Growth triggers identity conflict, and the brain panics. The mentor move here is pausing instead of retreating. He teaches a simple rule: never say no immediately. When an opportunity appears, take one small action within 24 hours. Open the account, read the terms, run the numbers. Research shows people who take micro-actions are 3x more likely to follow through long-term, strengthening disciplined money habits. Once action replaces avoidance, confidence compounds fast. Even small wins rewire the brain to associate progress with safety. That's when financial education stops being theoretical and starts becoming lived experience. And just as self-sabotage loses control, a deeper belief surfaces, one tied to guilt and morality around wealth itself. A lot of people carry quiet guilt around money without realizing it. They were taught, directly or indirectly, that wanting more means being selfish, shallow, or not grateful enough. Financial psychology shows this belief is one of the strongest blockers of healthy money habits, because desire itself starts to feel like a moral flaw. So ambition gets buried, and personal finance stays stuck on survival mode. You see this internal conflict clearly in movies like Forrest Gump. Forrest doesn't chase wealth, yet money flows to him because he uses it as a tool, not an identity. In real life, the issue isn't wanting more, it's not defining why. When desire has no purpose, it feels empty. When it's tied to values, it becomes fuel. The mentor reframes this belief with a simple exercise. He asks people to list 3 ways more money would improve other people's lives, not just their own. Paying off family debt, donating consistently, buying time for health and relationships. Research shows people with purpose-driven financial goals save more, invest more, and stick to better money habits long-term. Once money is seen as a tool, not a character test, guilt dissolves. Learning how to make money becomes responsible, not shameful. Financial education becomes service-oriented, not ego-driven. And just when this mental shift clicks, the final layer appears, one that ties belief, identity, and transformation together at the deepest level. At some point, fear around money stops being tactical and becomes spiritual and mental. That's why the Bible's advice in Romans 12 verse 2 hits so hard. Renewal starts in the mind, not the bank account. Financial psychology backs this up. Behavior changes only stick when identity shifts first. Without renewing thought patterns, money habits eventually snap back to old defaults. You see this transformation arc in movies like The Matrix. Once Neo sees the world differently, his actions change automatically. Money works the same way. When someone keeps thinking like the world thinks, scarcity, comparison, fear, personal finance stays reactive. But when the mind is renewed, money becomes intentional, calm, and strategic. The mentor approach here blends belief with structure. He recommends daily inputs that reshape thinking, 5 minutes of reflection, 1 short reading on financial education, and 1 written intention about how to make money ethically and wisely. Studies show mindset priming in the morning improves decision-making accuracy by over 20%, especially under pressure. When thinking changes, outcomes follow naturally. Fear loosens, clarity grows, and money habits align with purpose instead of panic. Finance tips finally land because the mind is ready to apply them. And now that the internal foundation is set, it's time to step back and see how all these patterns connect into one clear path forward. By now, you've started seeing the hidden ways fear has been controlling your money decisions. Remember how overwhelming it felt to worry about bills, compare yourself to others, or hesitate every time an opportunity popped up? Now you know the only path that matters is yours, built on strong money habits, financial education, and a mindset that sees money as freedom, not fear. You've already taken the first steps toward breaking old patterns. If you want to keep this momentum, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because the next insights will take your personal finance and financial psychology understanding even deeper. This is how you stay consistent with habits, learn how to make money smarter, and develop a lasting money mindset that actually changes your life. And here's something you don't want to wait on. For a complete step-by-step system, check out Holistic Health. Nourish your mind, balance your finances, transform your life. This guide teaches you exactly how to create passive income streams, eliminate debt, and maintain mental clarity under financial pressure. Click the link in the pinned comment now and start transforming your finances today. It's your time. Check out the material in the pinned comment. So, which step will you act on first? Will you finally replace fear with clarity, or will you let old habits control another year? The choice is yours, but you've got the roadmap now. Start small, act intentionally, and watch your financial confidence grow every single day.